Woo. You don't act like they're cold, but I can tell you they are. Hey there. All right. There we go. Coat matrix thing. Yep, there's no doubt about it. A tactic that works extremely well when bass are reluctant to fight is to fish smaller type lures. Now the idea is to make it as easy as possible for the bass to take your offering with minimum effort. Successful captures in nature aren't always easy for predators, and bigger prey is generally a lot more difficult to catch than smaller prey. Consequently, an inactive predator like the bass might ignore something it views as more difficult to capture. But on the other hand, if something small that looks natural comes along, something that doesn't move too fast or isn't too intimidating, you better get ready. There he is again. That's one good fish. Whoa. Pretty fine. Come in. Easy. Yes. Easy now. I'm gonna turn you loose. Look how cold he is. He says, you better get on back down now. Go on. There we go. You know, of all the great bass fishing lures that are on the market today, there's not many that'll outproduce the one I'm using for this situation. Now, I believe that. I really do. I'm talking about this little guy right here. Terminator's new 1/8 ounce finesse jig. Now, what makes this jig really a step above other finesse jigs is it has a practically invisible titanium weed guard that never needs adjusting and snaps back to its weedless position cast after cast, fish after fish. Another important feature is this extended neck, which helps hold a soft plastic attractor in place. Today, we've got it rigged with a small Riverside woolly hog tail. Another one trying to... Poor little thing. He just tried to jump, but it's just too... That baby's just too cold. Yeah, he is. Just too cold to jump. Let me show you how I'm working this thing. And we talked about it, but you know, the key in fishing it is just a lot of concentration and a lot of patience. That's bottom line. A lot of concentration and a lot of patience. I'm throwing it out, and this old slough that runs up through here is running about 7 feet deep, 6 to 7 feet. I'm watching the line, and once it hits the bottom, all I'm doing is just moving it just a little bit, lifting it with the rod tip. I'm actually working the bait with the rod tip, not the reel. Just lifting it up just a little bit and letting it float right back down to the bottom. And I'm probably not lifting it over 5 or 6 inches as I move it along. Normally, if the water was, say, 60 degrees, I'd fish it a lot faster. But in this cold water, these fish are not going to chase the bait. So actually, when it hits, what I'm doing, I'm just kind of working it with the rod tip, bringing it from about 10 o'clock up to about 11 o'clock. Sometimes just barely dragging it along and sweeping it real slow, and other times, as it starts to fall, I might just jig it just a little bit. If I hit cover, naturally I'm going to just kind of jig it a little bit and let it climb right up over the top of it.
Bill Dance Outdoors is brought to you in part by Eagle Claw, an American tradition in quality and excellence, and Pinpoint, things you've never seen before. Today's Conditions Log is brought to you by Spren. Make the switch to Stren, the most dependable fishing lines in the world. Bill Dance for Stren Fishing Line.
I switched to Stren nearly 34 years ago. Today, it's on all my reels. Stren Extra Strength is my choice to fish heavy cover. I want my line to come out of a brush pile or over a log just as strong as it went in. Stren Extra Strength is remarkably abrasion resistant, so it withstands the kind of punishment that weakens ordinary lines. Switching to Stren, it's the right thing to do.
Stren, the most dependable fishing lines in the world.
I've never had a jig that's better through heavy cover than Terminator, period. Add a free swimming rattle system, titanium trailer keeper, and it's easy to see why it's the best jig in bass fishing. Get it?
Terminator's finesse jigs incorporate a titanium weed guard that I designed. And all Terminator jigs feature air-alive skirts that trap tiny air bubbles, just like the real thing. Get it?
Terminator, by far the best jigs. Get it? He does.
Bill Dance. Meet Bill Gates. Introducing the Pinpoint Sonar Ready Tour Edition and Motor Guide. The first trolling motor with 109 pounds of thrust and a built-in transducer. Engineered to connect with the most advanced sonar display ever made. Eliminating interference, exposed wires, and any reason to buy another trolling motor. The new Pinpoint Sonar Ready Motor Guide. Take on the world.
To be your best, to have the energy to work hard and play hard. Getting great sleep is where it all begins. Introducing the Nautilus Sleep System. The secret is our patent-pending air chambers. Each chamber has 2 zones that interlock to support and evenly distribute your weight to minimize pressure points around your hips and shoulders. With the push of a button, your side of the bed can change from soft to firm and anywhere in between. Give you instant comfort. This innovative design is only available on the Nautilus Sleep System. In fact, Nautilus Sleep Systems are so comfortable and so durable, we back them with a 90-night, 100% satisfaction guarantee and a 20-year limited warranty. You can own one with no money down and payments as low as $30 per month. Get great sleep every night and wake up each morning with the energy to handle anything that comes your way. For a free video and brochure from Nautilus, call the number on your screen. Nautilus Sleep Systems, leading the way to great sleep.
Today's Equipment Blog is brought to you by Pennzoil Marine. Try Pennzoil Marine Premium Plus, a synthetic blend for added engine protection and less smoke, or new Pennzoil 100% synthetic. All the advantages of a synthetic, plus it's biodegradable.
Weatherman hit it on the head. Cloud cover by midday. As this low pressure approaches and the barometric pressure starts to drop, that's normally a turn on, especially in the spring, summer, and fall. And it could be a turn on in the winter. But even with the pressure change and the fish starting to get a little bit active, you've still got to present that bait slow and natural. You've got to make it look as natural as you possibly can. You can't overpower the bait. You want to work that bait just as slow as you can possibly work it. And repeated casts to the same area is very, very important. I saw him. He followed it up to the edge of that bush and hit it. Swallowed it, too. I know you told. Come on. That's really got some, didn't it? There we go. Okay, let's spend just a minute and talk about the equipment. You know, spinning tackle is the best choice. simply because it's got a lot of advantages, especially at this time of the year and real cold water. What it does, it allows you to cast very light lures that are necessary, and there's more give to spinning than bait casting, therefore it allows you to use lighter weight lines. My choice in equipment is a 6.5-foot medium light graphite action rod that has a sensitive tip for feel and plenty of backbone for a good hook set. The longer rod allows me to move more line and make long casts when necessary. For the reel, I like one with a long cast spool, multi-ball bearings, multi-dish drag washer, and a selective anti-reverse switch. The line, I want a quality, super sensitive, low stretch in about a 10-pound test. At 7 feet, we're running about 42 degrees, and the surface temperature was running in the high 30s, so we're about 2 to 3 degrees warmer right here at 7 feet, around 42, 41. And we're registering almost 12 parts per million dissolved oxygen content at the 7 foot, so the oxygen is good. But we've got a few degrees warmer temperature at 7 feet than we do closer to the surface.
Look at that one blast that thing. All right.
At Bass Pro Shops, we know these are the times of your life.
I got a fish here. Easy, huh? Oh, man.
Be ready for it.
Look at that one.
Nice fish. No matter how you like to shop, get more outdoors for your money with Bass Pro Shops.
With Pinpoint's high-speed microprocessor, you'll get a better understanding of the structure you're passing over. You'll see more fish, see tiny schools of bait fish, and when you're fishing vertically, you can see your lure beneath the boat in deep water. Now you'll see and understand what you've been missing.
Don't just find fish other fish finders miss. Find fish in places you never knew they existed. Pinpoint. For more information, visit pinpointfishing.com.
I'm going to talk tough to you guys today. When I fish crankbaits, my number one go-to bait is a model 6A Bomber. It's the toughest, truest running crankbait available. I've never met a pro angler that doesn't have a 6A Bomber in his tackle box somewhere. Hey, I've got 2 Bassmaster Classic Champion trophies on my wall. I'm out to win when I go fishing, so I've got a Bomber Model A tied on my line.
Bomber Model A's. Tough, true running crankbaits.
Barry Stokes for Stren Fishing Line.
I switched to Stren Fishing Line nearly 9 years ago. Today, it's the only fishing line on all my reels. It's no secret that big fish hang out in heavy cover. That's how they get to be big fish. But brush piles, lily pads, and rock formations are no longer safe havens if you have Stren Extra Strength line on your reel. Make the switch to Stren. You'll be glad you did.
Stren, the most dependable fishing line in the world.
Number 1 on the water. Saying it's one thing, proving it's another. Mercury, number 1 on the water.
Oh, it's coming right up on top of water. You can't jump. Oh, he just... Come on back up here. Gotta get it. There he goes. Come here, Donna. Come here. Come here. Don't throw that cold water on me. Got you good. Good. do here, old boy. Won't have to get my pliers. I guess it sounds like pliers. And get that right out of the top of your mouth. There you go. Hello. Oh, that's nice. And you smell that cold. See ya. That big old fish acted like he wanted to jump. But he just so cold he couldn't even come up out of the water. Okay, let me pass along a couple of tips that can help you when using open-face spinning reels. Now, line capacity can affect a reel just like it does with bait casting. If you fill the reel to the top of the spool, what's going to happen, you're going to run the risk of having line blow off the spool. And if you're using lightweight lures, it's always best to fill the spool up to about 1/8 of an inch of the spool lip. The less line you have on the spool, the greater the amount of tension will be. And what this could do, it could lead to line breakage. As the diameter of the spool gets smaller, more force is required to pull line off it. Another trick for reducing line twist is to close the bail manually while lifting the rod to take slack out of the line. As you make the cast, just lift the rod and close the bail manually. Otherwise, when you turn the handle to close the bail, you run the risk of throwing a loop section of slack line on the spool and winding over it. And this is one of the major causes of line mess with open face spinning. There we go. Ho, 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 ho. That's to beat this deal. They just wallop. But then they turn it on. I'm not going to. All right, ease up here. All right, calm down, calm down, calm down. Where is it? There it is. I bet you like getting up here in this warmer air. Air's a lot warmer. Well, there you have it. There's no doubt about it. Fishing when conditions are tough is a real challenge. It's seldom easy, but with the right approach and lots of patience, and I do mean lots of patience, even fishing in ice water can actually be very rewarding. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Stay tuned after these messages for Bill's Fishing Tip of the Week.
Subscribe now for 6 information-packed issues of Bill's new Bill Dance's Fishing magazine for just $16.99 and receive this limited edition Bill Dance buck knife absolutely free. Call now. Bill's new product tip of